So, how will Isagi Yuichi become the world's best striker? Now, this is a question fundamentally tied to the narrative of Blue Lock, and it's why we're even watching the show to answer this question. And today, I'll be jumping the gun, trying to predict / theorize on possible weapons he could obtain to become the world's best striker. And hopefully getting close to what actually happens. Okay, so how are we going to do this? We'll be going over 3 essential things which I believe Isagi needs to become the world's best striker, that being his finishing, his dribbling, and his mentality. Now, there are aspects of his game which I will not be talking about, even though they could be improved. I'll be sticking to things that I think are essential to being a striker. I think that we can all agree his stats, physicality, terrible, awful, get them out of here. But I'm not going to be going over that because that's pretty obvious, along with the fact that he's going to need more experience to become the world's best. This video is definitely more focused on actual weapons he needs to acquire to become the best. And of course, for this video, I will not be going outside of the abilities that Isagi has been shown to use. I'll be sticking to stuff that has to do with his intelligence, his direct shots, and things that we've already seen him be able to do. Everything I say in this video will be based on something that we've seen in the manga or something that will be feasible. You ain't gonna be doing no bicycle kicks. Ain't gonna be doing none of that. But that is going to be our first topic, a striker's most essential weapon, the ability to strike the ball effectively. Now, as of the latest chapter 265, Isagi's become pretty nice when it comes to striking the ball with his new twin gun volley, which is a very powerful ability. Couple this with his new lefty shot and his classic direct shot, Isagi has become a pretty efficient striker. However, there's still much room for improvement since he's not even the best striker in Blue Lock, let alone the under 20 world. And also given the fact that he can still only shoot when there's no defenders in front of him, meaning he still needs some help with this. Now let's start off with the Predator Eye. I think this is the most obvious ability that Isagi can get. I mean, this is his whole drip, being the visual prowess character. And the only concern of why he won't get it is simply because he hasn't got it already. Now, usually when it's an ability like this, he gets it immediately, i.e. Metavision and when he stole Naruhide's move. However, I can see 3 possibilities of why he hasn't unlocked it yet. The first thing is simply he hasn't had enough time to train with it so that he could actually use it in a game. That could be it. The second one is the fact that he doesn't fully grasp the concept of the Predator Eye. Reason being is because Kaiser seemingly has it, but Isagi doesn't seem to pick up on that fact, so maybe he doesn't fully understand how it works and that's why he can't use it yet. And the last one could be the fact that up until this point he hasn't had the shooting ability to use the Predator Eye properly, because both Kaiser and Barrow, who we think have the Predator Eye, well, we know Barrow does, but we're not exactly sure about Kaiser. I don't think that's been confirmed. But both of them have very good shooting abilities, which probably is the reason why they use Predator Eye, because they can actually use it to their full potential, whereas Isagi hasn't had that type of shooting ability, so it wouldn't work for him. That is until the recent chapter where he obtained 2-gun volley, which could definitely be on par with something like Barrow's shooting ability or even Kaiser's shooting ability, so I think that he might even unlock it in this match, but I'm not too sure about that one. In addition to the Predator Eye, I see Isagi stealing another one of Kaiser's moves, that being the Kaiser Impact Magnus, which we've seen in some of the latest chapters, which is basically just a direct shot essentially, but with a curve. Probably not in this match, however, later down into the story, I can see him adapting this ability, devouring it, and utilizing it for himself, giving Isagi extra shot course freedom. In continuation of all of his shooting abilities, I can see a horizontal scissor kick style move which allows him to get the ball in positions which he wouldn't otherwise be able to. Now, I don't think Isagi's the most athletic character in the show, but we've seen him do a few things which are pretty athletic, and we've seen him increase his stats tremendously from the start of the series, so I don't think this is out of the realm of possibilities, and I could see them using a name like Airstrike or something along those lines. Quote me on that. Now, if Isagi were to obtain all of these abilities, he would be absolutely unstoppable inside of the goal box. He would be able to find short courses and shoot them with his twin gun volley. In addition to that, obtaining shots which he wouldn't otherwise be able to. With Airstrike, combining all of these, he's already the best U20 striker, maybe besides Loki. But then that's where we get into the next part, which might even be more essential than his striking. Now, the next thing that we need to address is his dribbling ability, which currently is absolutely abhorrent. Honestly, Isagi is probably one of the worst dribblers in Blue Lock, despite him being the second best inside of the facility. But I'm here to change that. So the first thing that I would like to give him is something that, if you've watched Croco's basketball, you'll know very much about. That is the Emperor Eye. Now, for those who don't know, this ability allows the user to predict the future of his opponent in a 1v1 situation, essentially being able to pass them 99% of the time and collecting some ankles while they're at it. It's true this ability is borderline a superpower, but honestly at this point Blue Lock isn't far from that, as we've seen more and more extreme shit, i.e. Rin jumping over a car to Kaiser casually turning into Batman. And I can see the author doing something in this vein, especially as he said himself he wanted the show to be just realistic enough. And even though this by itself is very strong, I think that we can go further and give him an actual dribbling ability with a couple of sources of inspiration. Firstly is his own off the ball movements, secondly is Himuro from Croco no Basket, and quite fittingly the best player in the world in real life.
Messi.
We've seen that Isagi's footwork is second to none in terms of when it's off the ball, and this led me to the idea that he could have a dribbling style, just not focused on crazy technical moves or touching the ball a lot, more so like how Messi dribbles in real life. And if you've seen him dribble in real life, he doesn't do any fancy moves. He mainly focuses on body feints and faking out his opponent using precise movements, which is what makes Messi one of the best dribblers in the world, and what could possibly be the same for Isagi. Now, if you want an anime representation of what this may look like, is Himuro from Croco no Basket, who is a very skilled player. Although he's not talented, he uses a lot of fakes and uses basic movements to the best of his ability to get past any player. Isagi's in-universe inspiration for his dribbling style could be a player like Noah or Sai, because I think their dribbling styles also could be seen as similar to this one. And to tie this proposed dribbling style together, it will be how calm Isagi is when playing, not even looking at the ball while making his movements, producing zero tells. And this will be pretty much impossible to know which way he'll move next, using his teammates as well as bait, which technically makes him still utilize his teammates, which I think is perfect for him. Couple that with the aforementioned Emperor Eye, going up against Isagi would be like fighting an opponent you know nothing about but knows everything about you. And I think that's pretty cold. I don't think it's too far in the realms of impossibility that Isagi could get, but you know, you tell me. Now, before we go on to the next section, looking at the abilities I've already given him, we can safely put him in the pro world, probably some of the best. And just his finishing, as I stated before, puts him firmly on top of the U20 world. Now, looking at his dribbling abilities, taking those into consideration, he could definitely be a world-class player, including increased stats of course. But is he quite the best in the world? I definitely don't think so. And narratively, I don't think a player like that would be. I think they'll be very good, but not the best. And that's where my last idea comes into place, and that is his mentality. Isagi has shown time and time again that his mentality is his strongest weapon, with this allowing him to, in theory, devour and adapt to anyone. This is what I believe to be Isagi's greatest weapon and truly what separates him from the rest, and he will use this ability to master flow state. Now, flow has been a concept since the U20 arc and is what allows one's top performance. It is the ultimate ability, with Isagi learning more and more about ego and entering flow. I think the natural endpoint which he will achieve is such an understanding of his own ego, he'll be able to enter flow almost at will. Now, what will this actually look like? I think it will be similar to Croco no Basket. Yes, I'm referencing this show a lot, but it's just that goated. Now, this means that he'll be able to stay in the flow for a lot longer and enter it pretty much at will. He may also gain a deeper flow like Rin, but I'm not sure that might be exclusive to Rin. Now, with all of these abilities, I still have one more in the mentality section. He's already very broken, but you know, I just wanted to put a cherry on top. And that is with an ability that, for the purposes of this video, we'll call Overdrive. Essentially, it's just a stamina hack, allowing him to play a lot longer than he otherwise would be able to, which is based on the fact that in the Manshan game, he had a kind of outer body experience. Like, it felt like an outer body experience while reading it. How he was talking about even he himself is a pawn on the field to be manipulated to score a goal. How this will work will be exactly the same way that marathon runners and people who achieve like great feats of human endurance achieve those feats, is because they're able to put their mind in a separate place and remove themselves from the experience. Because half the battle of endurance is simply the mentality, and that's the one thing that we can all agree that Isagi has above anyone else in the series. And actually, stamina is one of the core parts of Isagi's game. As he explained to Noah in his perfect formula, he would need to have endurance to run for all 90 minutes of the match, and his stamina is probably one of the best that we've seen in Blue Lock. So if you didn't understand, this ability will allow him to play for much longer at max effort, for let's say 10 minutes, by detaching himself mentally, but it will have a drawback, being that when this ability ends, he'll basically just faint like in the Manshan game. So now, let's go over everything I've talked about in this video. When it comes to finishing, he'll unlock the Predator Eye, he'll have a new shot called Airstrike, and have a shot similar to the Kaiser Impact Magnus, the Direct Shot Magnus. And then if we move on to his dribbling abilities, he'll unlock something called the Emperor Eye, and something that, let's just for the sake of it call it Cyborg Dribbles. Ideally it would be called Machine Dribbles, but Noah already took that, so what do you think it should be called? We move on to his mentality, which he'll get probably the most broken abilities, which will be Perfective Flow and a stamina hack called Overdrive. And for me, it'll be so cool if something like this actually happens. Now, combining all of these abilities, I definitely think he would be the strongest in the verse, and maybe only rivaled by other Blue Lockers, well, future Blue Lockers, like maybe a Nagi or something. And if you guys want me to make a video on the potential of someone like Nagi or something like that, I can do that. This is not a Blue Lock channel, but this is one of my favorite series, so I have no problem making that. And yeah, I think all of the ideas that I put in here are realistic for the author to actually put in the series. Now, some of these aren't the most 100% concrete predictions, and instead this is pretty much just me, as if I was in the writing room, if I was in Kanashiro's ear, what I would suggest for him to put in. And I think I made some compelling points. And put in the comment section your ideas on what you think characters like Nagi, Rin, Bara are going to be able to do in the future, because that's really interesting to me. And what you think of my ideas in this video. I really hope I don't get slated in these comments, man. And yes, this is my first video, but I plan to go hard, bringing you more content like this, you know, very creative videos, like stuff about Blue Lock, other things like that. And yeah, hopefully you guys stick around, and if you do, like and subscribe and all them things there. Let the outro play, man. Focus, I see next thought, oh shit, why? Niggas wanna throw